Hey, Katie Kimball from KitchenStewardship.com here. We are talking today about taking your recipes for baked goods that use grains and that are measured in cups and translating them to measuring by weight or, weighing in grams. There's a couple ways to do this. You can ask the internet, but unfortunately you'll get a really wide variety of answers when, if you say how much is 1 cup. As you saw in the last video, I asked our Google Home in 2 different ways how many grams are in 1 cup of whole wheat flour, and I got 2 different answers. A little bit more internet searching, and I've seen everything from 113 to 157 for 1 cup of whole wheat flour. Now you start asking about gluten-free grains like buckwheat, quinoa, teff, chickpea flour. You get a little bit of a range as well. So you could just take the average, take the most common answer. So for example, when I first started baking by weight, I simply did 120 grams, straight up. And most of my recipes worked out. Then I had a recipe that called for whole wheat pastry flour. King Arthur's site told me to use 95 grams, and it totally did not work at all. And again, this is all per cup. So the very, very best way, again, if you have a recipe you can just jump in and you can try it, especially if you can mix up that dough, look at it and go, that doesn't look right. I think I need to add more flour, and then you can measure using your scale, a little bit more flour, grind that in, and end up on that recipe, making your own notation about how many grams of flour it uses. Probably the best way to figure out, measuring by weight is simply to measure your own cup of flour, to measure your own cup and weigh it and see what happens. Today, just for a demonstration, I'm going to use my mock mill, and I've measured 120 grams of hard red winter wheat whole berries, and we'll see if it's anywhere near close to a cup. Now granted, the mock mill is going to be shooting directly into the cup, which is going to cause some settling. Whereas if I was, really measuring flour, I would use a scoop like this, and I'd reach into my bag and fluff it up. And we say in our Kids Cook Real Foodie course, we say let flour fall like snow, because you don't want any settling at all. So we'll see how this goes. It's supposed to be an exact, precise process, and I've just found that it's anything but, which is really interesting. The mill goes on first, then the grain comes through. This is very interesting. When I use my knife and snowplow this flat, as we say in the Kids Cook Real Foodie course, it is going to be too much. Let's find out how much. So I'm putting this bowl on the scale, tearing it out to 0 grams, grabbing my trusty butter knife, where we'll use the flat edge, again, as we teach our kids. I'm going to snowplow this flat, knowing that it's already a little bit settled and a little bit packed. That is a solid 15 grams too much, which means that in my house, 1 cup whole wheat flour really should be about 105 grams. It's so interesting. Now, would this be a really cool thing to do with kids? Absolutely. Line up all the grains that you would make into flour, print the handy dandy chart that we're going to provide you in the post that goes with this video, and make notes. Mill some flour, measure it out, and note it. And then measure that number of grams of whole berries or whole rice or whatever you've got. Measure that number of grams into your bowl. Mill that and see if it comes out pretty doggone close to a cup. And then you will have, your own family's 1 cup measurement in grams, and you can translate all your recipes. And we'll talk a little bit next week or soon. We'll talk a little bit soon about why I do think measuring by weight makes it easier for kids to be more precise bakers. So that's what I wanted to show you today. If you want to translate your recipes to measure by weight, the best thing to do really is just to test and not rely on the internet, because the internet is crazy. I'm Katie Kimball from KitchenStewardship.com, and I sure hope that this was helpful for you.